Folks, hello and welcome to Tavern Chat. I am your host, Eric Tenkar, your bartender in the OSR, your main proprietor at the Tenkar's Tavern blog. It's been all over. We mentioned this last night on the live stream. There has been a leak. I'm not talking about a leak in the privy. I'm not talking about a leaky roof. There has been a leak of the 1.1 OGL. Okay? Somebody who you guys was not supposed to be talking about it, started talking about it, started putting it into the hands of, a YouTube channel. This time it's in Gizmodo. It's a Gizmodo article. And this is where it gets interesting because the Gizmodo article goes in pretty deep on this. And the old OGL was apparently, I don't know, 1,000 words. This one is 9,000. So, the new D&D open game license. And I'm going to tell you right now, this is not an open game license. If you have to opt in, this is going to be key because I reached out to my sources in the community, publishing level, and I try to get a sense of, hey, how is this going to affect you? And I had a theory. And it looks like my theory might be correct. So we'll get to that. And if you listen to the show, you've probably heard this last month, but I'm going to tell you what the article says initially. Document the OGL, which a document to allow a vast group of independent publishers to use the basic game rules created by D&D owner Wizards of the Coast, significantly restricts the kind of content allowed and requires anyone making money under the license to report their products to Wizards of the Coast directly, according to analysis of a leaked draft of the document dated mid-December. So this is the document that's dated mid-December. Now we are early January, so this document is at least 3 weeks old. It's likely been changed, but despite reassurances from Wizards of the Coast last month, the original OGL will become an unauthorized agreement, and it appears no new content will be permitted to be created under the original license. Now, my theory, when I heard that there was going to be a new OGL, and it obviously looked like it was going to be a lot more restrictive, and how are they going to handle this? And I believe my thought on the matter was it's an opt-in OGL. You have to sign up for it. And when you sign up for it, I was guessing that your ability to use the older OGLs would be revoked. In other words, if you opt into 1.1, you can no longer use 1.0, 1.0a. Okay. I reached out to my sources. Because, again, this affects not just big companies, it affects small publishers, it affects independent publishers, it affects one-man shows. And what I was told is, and the information goes straight up to the corporate line, is that right now, and again, could change in a week, right now, the ability to publish 5e material under the old OGL is not going away, which would mean you could publish 3e, Pathfinder, OSR. The issue becomes if you opt into 1.1, the prior OGLs are no longer authorized for you. So, my understanding is that some publishers are looking at this as if we want to opt in to the 1D&D OGL / SRD, and the only way you'll be able to publish material for 1D&D using that SRD will be under the new OGL, and if it's even called that, I suspect it won't be. But right now, it's like lipstick on a pig. You can put lipstick on a pig; it's still a pig. You can call this whatever you want. It's not an open license; it's a closed license. But once you say, "I am uploading Tenkar's terrible taverns and treasures," and I want to publish that under 1.1 using that OGL, I have now, on my own dime, I've revoked my ability to use the prior OGLs. If I doesn't mean I can't publish for the OSR or Pathfinder. I'd have to do it under the restrictions of 1.1, which includes basically registering every product I want to publish with Wizards of the Coast, reporting my income if I make over $50,000, and paying the tax, the Wizards of the Coast tax, if my company makes over 750,000. That tax rate, that royalty rate, is 25%, unless your project was on Kickstarter, in which case it's only going to be taxed at 20%. Because apparently, I guess they got to deal with Kickstarter to push Kickstarter as the way to crowdfund. So, yes, apparently there is talk in the industry about more than one company to take their corporate structure and split it. What does that mean to you as a consumer? If the prior OGLs are still valid for the vast majority to use, if they don't opt into 1.1, that is, very little is going to change for you. Well, if the rumors, as stated in the Gizmodo article and the N-World threads, and I'll say this, N-World was on top of it, and they have mods that and last month were saying, stop saying the sky is falling, it's not falling, you don't know anything. Those of us like me who had said, hey, they want to do away with the OGL, they've done away with the OGL if you opt into 1.1. 1.1 is not an OGL. So, what else? Ryan Dancy, he's actually been quoted on N-World saying, hey, when they wrote the original open game license, the intention was that it cannot be revoked. It was into perpetuity. Well, we shall see. Again, it as it has been, I don't know, observed by others, including myself, if they could have revoked the OGL, they would have revoked it at 4E. They wouldn't have allowed Pathfinder to happen and steal the market if all they needed to do was say, oh, it's no longer authorized. So I do believe that my sources are correct and that you will need to opt into 1.1, but by opting into 1.1, you've perpetually, permanently, irrevocably opted out of 1.0 and 1.0A. So, what's new in the 1.1 OGL? It explicitly states, takes a strong stance against bigoted content, explicitly stating the company may terminate the agreement if third-party publishers publish material that is blatantly racist, sexist, homophobic, transphobic, bigoted, or otherwise discriminatory. Now, what would be defined as that? That's going to be up to Wizards of the Coast. It apparently addresses blockchains and NFTs. Okay. And I said one of the biggest changes to the document is that it updates the previously available OGL 1.0 to state it is no longer an authorized license agreement. This is from the article. By ending the original OGL, many licensed publishers will have to completely overhaul their products and distribution in order to comply with the updated rules. Again, I don't see that happening. I do see if you want to publish for one D&D, you opt in, and you opt in, the OGL goes bye-bye. The prior ones. But again, the open game license was always intended to allow the community to help grow D&D and expand its creatively. It wasn't intended to subsidize major competitors, especially now that PDF is by far the most common form of distribution. Why this is in, and now this is where I start wondering, folks, just so you know. I know this is a leak. I know it was dated mid-December, and apparently the leak is a valid source. But why would you put this into the open game license I'm going to put air quotes around that, 1.1, where this has nothing to do with licensing. This is all justification. The settlement is reiterated later in the document. The OGL wasn't intended to fund major competitors, and it wasn't intended to allow people to make D&D apps, videos, or anything other than printed or printable material for use while gaming. We are updating the OGL in part to make that very clear. They tried to get quotes from other companies. Nobody's really going to give you a quote on that, you know. So I will link to this. They're saying, again, if the original license is no longer viable, every single licensed publisher will be affected by the new agreement, because every commercial creator will be asked to report their products, new and old, to Wizards of the Coast. So, again, my understanding, my sources, and could they be wrong? Again, my sources are as of now. As of now, what I understand, what I am hearing is 1.1 is opt-in. You opt into 1.1, you have irrevocably terminated your ability to publish anything further under 1.0 or 1.0a. Any further products that you publish must be published under 1.1. So if you were publishing for Pathfinder, Swords and Wizardry, DCC as a third-party publisher or the primary publisher, and you sign on for 1.1, you're on for 1.1. That's a decision that I would not enjoy or envy having to make. It's not an easy one, because 1.1 could be changed with a 30-day notice. It could be revoked. They're telling you that they can look at your I don't know how they're going to review all these products, but I'm sure certain names will be on the top of their list, right? Again, if 1.0 and OA are revoked, people like, I don't know, James Desborough, James Raggy, Wenger, the Pundit, all people like that are going to have their stuff gone over with a fine-tooth comb, because they're going to look for a way to revoke the license. Again, this is my understanding. Does not mean that I am right. I think my sources are at least as good as this article. But hey, we shall see. It's a scary time, though, if you are a publisher and you're not Wizards of the Coast. All right, folks, on that note, we are still in the midst of the pandemic. Please use your common sense. Be safe, be well, God bless, roll those dice, roll them well. Live stream tomorrow night with the random generated party. Right? Random party generator. I screw myself up on this one, because I like the random party generator because it's RPG. We will be on tomorrow night. You can guarantee that we will be discussing the OGL. Actually, it's probably going to be all OGL talk. I'm sure Rob Conley is going to go off the deep end and into the weeds, into the marshlands, but it's going to be interesting. Folks, as always, be safe, be well, God bless, roll those dice, roll them well. Catch you all later.